it's always fun watching the big boys scrap, especially guys as exciting as Jamahal Hill and Johnny Walker. I mean, obviously Johnny Walker in his last fight, had a much more conservative approach, and I suspect he's going to have the same. Although maybe he might, balance be a little balance his, aggression a little bit with the being super conservative, because that conservatism kind of cost him the last fight. But you could argue that if he was reckless, he could have gotten knocked out by Thiago Santos. But this fight actually was a replacement fight for Rafael Fiziev and Rafael dos Anjos. And I actually, as much as I love that fight and Rafael Fiziev with his matrix moves, and I mean the crazy knockout he had over Brad Riddell and how talented he is. He used to be the striking coach at an amazing gym in Thailand. Oh my God, what is it? A Tiger Muay Thai. Jesus, almost forgot. But as excited I was for that fight, it's always fun watching the big boy scrap. And again, this is going to be this is definitely going to be a fun fight, and you definitely do not want to well, I don't want to say that. I was going to say you don't want to look away from your TV, but you never know with these kind of especially if Johnny Walker's much more contained. I mean, Jamahal really is kind of like what's fun is, he can be a counter fighter and almost like a seek and destroy missile, as Teddy Atlas likes to say. So, if you look, he just countered, which was really smart against the tough Australian fighter that Jamahal just beat. He also, Anthony Smith beat him as well. I don't know why I'm having a terrible memory today, but the gentleman he beat, I'm looking him up right now, is Jimmy Crute. So Jimmy Crute was a really highly touted prospect, and I mean, if he would have beaten Anthony Smith, maybe one more fight and he'd be fighting for the title. But then he had unfortunately, that situation with the legs, giving up on him, and then he fought Jamahal Hill, was a big favorite, and Jamahal just starched him. Beautiful counters with that counter hook, and he got him with it twice. So Jamahal, he knows how to fight as a counter fighter, but on OSP, he knew how to be kind of like he kind of tracked him down and walked him down. So I'm really excited for Jamahal Hill. He's actually a tiny light heavyweight. I mean, he's like a little bit, I don't even want to say chunky, but he's not as, like, let's say, as quote unquote fit or big as the other guys, but he just has dynamite in his hands, and he's an extremely talented fighter. I think it's that extreme amount of talent that allows him to fight one weight class higher than maybe his regular weight class. I would maybe say that it could be, if he fought at 185, especially with the less wrestlers. I mean, he could just be killing people, because I mean, kind of the key to beat him was kind of demonstrated by Paul Craig. But again, Paul Craig is a very good fighter. People in the past didn't give him enough credit, but he's kind of had a renewed focus in his career, and he's been doing very well. I like him a lot. He's like the only guy to beat Magomed Ankalaev, which a lot of people think is going to be the future title holder, which I don't blame them. He's a fantastic fighter. So, with that being said, Johnny Walker is going to have a huge size advantage. I mean, Jamahal Hill, I mean, he looks like, if you look at him against OSP, I mean, it looks like he's only like cutting 10 pounds or maybe even less, like maybe like 215 and 205. Or, if, and he could, like I said, he could easily cut, it looks like he could cut more weight, he could go to 185. Or maybe, maybe he'd be more comfortable if there was like a 195 weight class. So he might be a little bit too big for 185 and a little too small for 205. But again, he's so skilled that he's still making it work. And but Johnny Walker is a giant man. I mean, the guy, say he walks around at 240, he's jacked, built, he's built like a male stripper. Because it's funny, because he does a little strip dance when he walks out. And I feel like he's had a good. I'm happy that he switched his. I know he's been moving around a lot. He moved to Faraz Zahabi, and now he's going. He's fighting out of SBG Ireland, where Conor McGregor trains at. I don't know if he still trains there, but I think he does. So it's John Kavanagh is a good coach, and I think that he kind of calmed Johnny Walker down a little bit. And even though kind of like that lack of output cost him the fight, and I didn't like that, Kavanagh was really telling him that he was really sure that Johnny Walker had the fight in the bag when he clearly didn't. I didn't like that, but I do think that I do understand why. With all that being said, I do understand why Jamal is the favorite. Although I do think that the odds are off, I think it's not a bad idea to take a shot on the dog on Johnny Walker at plus 195. I think it makes more sense for Jamahal to be like a minus 150, Johnny Walker to be a plus 120. So I think there's value in Walker, but I really think the real value is actually on the I would say looking at the over-unders. And I actually think it might be worth taking a stab at the under 1.5. And I think for the reason that even though Johnny Walker's more conservative, if Jamahal walks him down and puts it into a dogfight, I think that Johnny Walker will respond and may go a little bit wild. So I think that this fight could easily end early on. And I honestly think that if it goes like over 1.5, it's probably going to go to a decision. I don't even know if Jamahal has any decisions under his belt. Let's see, finish. No, he beat. Oh yeah, he beat Darko Stosic. I forgot. That was Darko kind of out wrestled him. I don't really see much grappling going on in this fight. And he did beat Daquan Townsend by decision, and early on he had a couple of decisions. But I think that, and it's interesting because his first fight was a catch weight at 215, and then he had a 225, which I guess he doesn't really want to cut much weight, even though he probably has some weight to cut. But I think that it might be worth taking a stab at the under 1.5. Right now it's plus 110 that I'm seeing, and I think that even though Johnny Walker is going to be what is it called? He's turning into a more conservative guy. He may be a little bit more aggressive. If Jamahal tags him, I think Johnny goes a little crazy. Or maybe vice versa. If Johnny tags Jamahal might go a little bit crazy. And let's just take a look also. Let's see. For the fight to go the distance, it's plus 330. I also think that it may not be a bad play. I think that if this fight goes over 1.5, and these guys are kind of fast twitch type guys, even though Johnny Walker can't hold a long pace, I think it goes to decision. So honestly, I think that it might not be a bad play to do like a baby hedge. So you grab the fight to go to distance at plus 330, and then you grab the under 1.5 at plus 110. And what you do is you just bet the same amount to you play around with the numbers. So let's say you're going to bet a total of $50 on this fight. What you're going to do is you're going to figure out what number evens out. So for example, it might be about like $10 for the fight to go distance, and then 40 on the under 1.5. And you got to figure out what the payouts are the same. I had a little Excel sheet that I used to use to play around with that. So if you guys have questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I could kind of explain it, but you can put a little Excel sheet. So I think this fight might be worth hedging, either taking the under 1.5 or the fight to go to distance, or doing a hedge with a combination of both. I think that might be the smartest play to go, or it might be worth taking a shot on the dog and Johnny Walker. So I know that this is kind of a little bit of a complex play. I feel like a lot of people like kind of the simple play, just pick one side. But I think why not? If you can hedge your position. I mean, people do that in the market all the time with different options and etc. Why can't you do that in betting by using a little bit of hedge when no one else is taking advantage of that? So I would say that that's kind of an interesting opportunity. So, it's funny. I've only used hedge a couple times, and they've always worked out. But for some reason, I don't use them as much as I don't use them as much for some reason, because I end up being like, might as well just just pick a direction. But I'm like, why? I mean, look, if at the end of the day, if the fight goes under 1.5 or it goes the distance, you're going to be like, oh shit, I shouldn't have picked the other option. But again, you're always dealing with unknowns in this situation. So I think that the right play would be to actually do a little baby hedge. So hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys have any questions, let me know, and please please subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and please like the video. Thanks.